All right. Bo Mack, the trainer for Terrence Crawford, thinks that Errol Spence Jr. is just an average fighter that's strong. He talks about the matchup. Let's talk about what Bo Mack got to say in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel, subscribers. If you're not subscribed, please subscribe. Hit the bell icon. Also, share and like the video. Check me out on Twitter. Thank you to everybody that supports the channel and the super chat and the live streams that we do Monday through Friday, and then OG Boxing Talk coming up this Sunday morning at 8 a.m. Eastern Standard Time. Now, Bo Mack. Obviously out there in Vegas, there's a lot of interviews coming out of Vegas. There was fight cards going on with Top Rank this weekend with Tyson Fury, if you want to call that a fight card. You know, God, man, Tyson Fury's about to just, it's the weekend of mismatches. Let's put it that way. Now, there's an interview that came up with Fight Hype. Shout out to Fight Hype. Definitely got to acknowledge your sources. And they were asking Bo Mack, Brian McIntyre, the trainer of Terrence Crawford out of Omaha, Nebraska, what he thought about Errol Spence Jr. versus Shawn Porter. And Bo Mack proceeds to start giving his opinion about it, and a very valid opinion. He said, look, man, it's not, there's a lot of dog in Shawn, and Shawn is in a lot of really close fights and he's beat good fighters. So people shouldn't just think that it's a foregone conclusion that Shawn Porter is going to that Errol Spence Jr. is going to beat Shawn Porter. Then the interviewer asked, well, what does he have to do to beat Errol Spence Jr.? Bo Mack talks about the two styles of fighting that Shawn Porter has, but says he better take it to Errol Spence Jr. Otherwise, he's not going to win. He basically said he better. I'm filling in that he said he won't win unless he takes that fight to Errol Spence. But after that, he says, well, what about the interviewer says, what about Terrence Crawford? And then he says, Bo Mack says, hey, man, I just don't see anything really special about Errol Spence Jr. other than the fact that he's strong and that he's big. But at 147, he's really not that big at 147 because he's coming all the way down from, some highly exaggerated weight that he shared of like 190, 200 pounds. Something Bo Mack said. I was like, man, come on, Bo Mack. Get a guy some credit, man. Ain't nobody doing that to Terrence Crawford, man, saying the cat's not, nobody that I've heard on the PBC is calling Errol Spence Jr. or calling Terrence Crawford an average fighter. It's the people over at Top Rank that are acting like Terrence Crawford is some average fighter by making them their third number 3 fighter in that stable behind Vasily Lomachenko and Tyson Fury. But anyway, man, I thought it was really interesting that Bo Mack said that. And one of the things that really jumped to my mind was, okay, if Errol Spence Jr. is not a special fighter, he's just a big fighter that's got his fundamentals together. What special fighter has Bud ever fought? Just wondering. Like, if there's nothing special about Errol Spence Jr., then has Terrence Crawford ever been in the ring with a special fighter? That would be a very interesting question. Or is just everybody in the sport of boxing average? Not everybody can be average. That's not the way that average works. And in fact, there's that saying that there's lies, damn lies, then there's statistics. That points to the fact that if you have 10 people and you say, that there's 10 people, they have 10 different numbers that you assign to them and how good they are, and the average of that is a 5, that there's probably not going to be any one in particular person, or maybe just one in particular person that you would actually rate a 5. So the whole idea of an average amongst multiple people I always thought was kind of funny. But who has Terrence Crawford fought that that isn't average. Was Victor Postal average? I don't think Victor Postal is as good as Errol Spence Jr. Was Yuriokas Gamboa average? Was Ricky Burns average? Jeff Horn, is he average? I mean, or above average, I guess is the question I should be asking. Exactly which one of these fighters is above average for Bud? And if Bud has never fought an above average fighter, how do we know that he's really any good? See, obviously, I don't believe that Errol Spence Jr. is just an average fighter. Clearly, he's not. Average fighters don't beat Mikey Garcia the way that Errol Spence Jr. beat Mikey Garcia. Average fighters don't make it to the Olympics. Average fighters don't do the things that Errol Spence Jr. has done in his career. That just doesn't happen. You have to be an exceptional fighter to do that. So obviously, I believe that Brian McIntyre, Bo Mac, is just got a little bit of, maybe a little salt towards Errol Spence Jr. Might be just overdoing it a little bit, talking about how he's draining down in weight so far, and how if you drain so far down in weight that you really don't have a lot of power. Well, if that was the case, doesn't that apply to Terrence Crawford when Terrence Crawford was fighting at 135 pounds? If Terrence Crawford is weighing in at walking around 165 pounds now, what was he doing down there at 135 pounds? Was he just not a very special fighter down there at 135 who didn't have a lot of power? Same thing for 140, coming down from 165 to 140. This is actually the weight class that Errol Spence, I do believe Errol Spence had a couple fights at 154 pounds, a few fights at 154 pounds when he turned pro, and then went down to 147. The same way that Terrence Crawford had his first few fights at 140 and then went back down to 135. I do believe that that's somewhat of a standard. It's not I won't say it's a standard practice because I don't know that to be the case, but it's not, put it this way, it's not uncommon. Sean Porter was at 154 pounds, had several fights at 154. I think he might even have one at 160 and then went down to 147. So, doing that is not unheard of. Obviously, I don't believe that Bo Mac believes what he's saying, that he's doing for effect, that he's blowing up, that he's got a certain confidence about his fighter. He says, what is Errol Spence Jr. going to do when somebody that, can actually box with him? And my thoughts were, he's going to box with them. And styles do make fights, but it definitely, I personally think that Errol Spence Jr. can beat Terrence Crawford. And I think that Errol Spence Jr. can beat Terrence Crawford for the exact same reasons that Bo Mac laid out. That everything that he does is fundamentally sound. And it's the fact, and he has talent, significant amount of talent behind that very fundamental style. He doesn't give you a lot of room and mistakes to take advantage of. But not only does he have a very fundamental style, he has an exceptional work rate. He puts exceptional amount of pressure on you. And I'm just not sure whether or not Terrence Crawford, with a guy that's that big, and there's also one other thing that Bo Mac said. Bo Mac said that that Terrence Crawford is the type of guy that if you try to box him, he's going to outbox you. But if you try to come and fight him, Terrence Crawford is going to say, oh, you want to fight? Well, let's fight. That right there is the problem with Terrence Crawford for Errol Spence Jr. That's the problem for Terrence Crawford about Errol Spence Jr. If he tries to fight Errol Spence Jr., I believe he's going to get beat up. And he's going to get beat up because Terrence Crawford's not hard to hit when he does that. Terrence Crawford, and that's to his credit, and something has allowed him to finish off guys like Jeff Horn, finish off guys like, Jose Benavidez and the like, finish off guys like Yuriokas Gamboa. And actually, but one time had put him in trouble with Yuriokas Gamboa is that when that guy tries to start fighting him, he's going to fight them. Now, what's going to happen to Terrence Crawford when somebody is as big, who is stronger than him, that's as fast as him? And when I say as fast as him, I mean as fast as him with his feet and as fast as with the actual delivery of the punches. Where Terrence Crawford's hands are here and he's coming through here, Errol Spence is shooting right from the shoulder. And that's a shorter distance. So even if Terrence Crawford had actually faster hand speed, Errol Spence Jr.'s punch will get there faster because it's traveling a shorter distance and a more direct distance. And you have a situation where you have a natural southpaw against a converted southpaw. And if Terrence Crawford tries to switch to orthodox and fight orthodox with Errol Spence, that I do believe for sure will get very, very, very ugly. But that's my thoughts on the matter. But I do think Terrence Crawford is the number one pound for pound fighter in the world. But as we know, pound for pound is hypothetical, and boxing matches are meritorious and for real. Hopefully we'll get to see that fight soon. Let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.